This recording will start soon. Transcription will start soon. Okay, so I believe that I'm recording. We are doing notes when we meet. So, as it says up there, most of you probably already read it. You should already have these done with the blank spots. You don't have to fill in the blanks yet. So, we are filling the blanks in together today. So, this will be our routine every week. You write the notes on paper before we meet, then we'll fill them in as a class on Wednesdays. I will record them and post them. So, if you miss them or maybe I go too fast, you can always go back, watch the recording, go over them, fill in the blanks. All right? All right. We are going to get started. So Cornell style notes, this is how your notes should look. You don't have to write this down. These are just directions right now. So you should be taking notes in this style. It says below, but it's to the right. So the title should be at the top. The title of these notes, you can just title them 1.1 notes, or the entire title is on the top. Oops. Back here. The entire title is 1.1, The Study of Life. If you want to write that entire title at the top, that's totally fine. Essential question and at the top and the summary at the bottom, we are going to do those, but we're going to do them at the end when we're finished going through and filling all the blanks. So I will get to those at the end. And that is that. So our key concept for section 1.1, the study of life, is biology is the study of all forms of life. And if you did these like you were supposed to before class, you should only have 2 blanks in them. You should just be filling in the blanks as we go along. So I'm not going to spend too much time on each slide because you're only writing down 2 words. And if you didn't and I go too fast, that's why I'm going to post the recording later. So you can come back, watch the recording, you can pause it wherever you need to pause it and write. Take as much time as you need to write them. So the next slide is a general slide about the Earth. So the entire section 1.1 and 1.2 are introducing these biology concepts that we're going to go deeper into in future chapters. So the Earth is home to an incredible diversity of life. This is also called biodiversity. Bio is the prefix meaning life. Diversity meaning the difference, so the different types of life. The biosphere includes all living things and all of the places they are found. If you guys have questions as I'm talking, feel free to unmute yourselves and ask, or you can ask in the chat too. I will answer as I go along. If you have a question, it's likely that other people have questions too. So the biosphere, you can see in the picture, is the zone of life, but it reacts with the other spheres that are found on the planet. Everything is connected. So every part of the biosphere is connected with every other part. So there's the 4 main spheres. We talk about them a little bit more in depth in some other classes in earth science and in environmental science, but here we just introduce them briefly. The atmosphere is the air that's all around us that we breathe, the blanket that protects the planet of invisible gases. The hydrosphere is all of the water on Earth. And the geosphere is all of the earth on Earth, all of the dirt portions and the rocks and the lava, all of those solid portions that we stand on. So all of these parts are connected. The way we treat one has an effect on the other 3. And the biosphere itself includes many different environments. We break that down, especially when we get to ecology. We have a whole unit on ecology. With the different environments that make up the biosphere, it includes two main environments that are broken down into further categories. So we talk about the biosphere in terms of the land and the sea, because living things live on land, living things live in the sea. And on land, there's 6 to 10 different biomes. Different scientists classify the land biomes in a little bit different ways. Like I said, we'll get into that in more detail when we start talking about ecology next semester. And then the water biomes. We have freshwater, which are lakes and stuff found within the land. And then we have saltwater. That's all the oceans. If you've ever been to the ocean, you know the oceans are very salty. Biodiversity is the variety of life. It generally increases from the poles to the equator. Biodiversity is greater in areas with consistently warm temperatures. So the poles, the North Pole and the South Pole, are covered in ice, and there are some living things that live there. You have to be really resilient and have specific adaptations to be able to live at the North Pole or the South Pole. But as we come to the middle, come to the equator, the temperature rises and gets warmer and warmer. And the warmest temperatures are found at the equator, and that is where the most plants and animals are found, the most variety of plants and animals, the greatest amount of biodiversity. A species is one particular type of living thing. Members of a species can interbreed and have fertile offspring. Fertile being the most important word in that sentence. There are animals, organisms, that can have offspring, but their offspring are not fertile. Horses and donkeys can interbreed and have offspring. They're called mules. But mules are infertile. They can't get together and make little baby mules. Mules always have to come from the interbreeding of horses and donkeys. So they are considered two separate species because of that. There are about 2 million different living species that have been identified, and there are millions more that we have not found and identified. And because they're in places that are maybe inaccessible to us. We can't reach them very easily. All right, over to 1.2. So 1.2 has a little bit different. I don't want to share that one anymore. Present something else. I want to present 1.2. There we go. 1.2 has a little bit different title up here, but your title can still just be 1.2 notes. That's totally fine. Or you can write out the full title, Unifying Themes of Biology. And unifying themes connect concepts from many different fields of biology. Some of them we just mentioned in 1.1. But we're just touching on all of these biological subjects. And we will likely have later in the semester an entire chapter or an entire unit dedicated to just these brief glances of topics. So an organism is any individual living thing. So whenever we say the word organism, it just means a living thing. It could mean a plant, an animal, a bacterium. And no, you do not have to write this chart. There are a few things throughout sets of future notes that I will want you to draw, but I will specifically say, draw this picture. And this is not one of them. I don't have you drawing anything in these sets of notes. But you can see from the chart that the variety of organisms depends on a lot of different things: the number of cells, the size of their cells, the shape of the cells. And it moves on and gets more complicated from there. All organisms share certain characteristics, which is what your Edpuzzle is on this week. They are all made of one or more cells. Chapter 3 is an entire chapter dedicated to cells. All need energy for metabolism. We get that energy by eating. There are other organisms that get that energy for metabolism in various other ways. We will study that in all of chapter 4. All of them respond to their environment. If you think of what we do, temperature is one of them. If our environment gets hot, we try to cool off. If our environment gets cold, we put blankets and jackets on to try to warm up. That is a response to our environment. Every organism does that. And not just to temperature, to pH, to saltiness of the water if they live in water environments, things like that. And then all organisms reproduce and have DNA that they pass to offspring. We have an entire chapter dedicated just to DNA. And then we have another chapter or two dedicated to how that DNA gets passed on to offspring. We'll give this one a little more time because it's a little longer. But again, if we go too fast for you, I will post the recording. It takes about an hour for the recording to process and to get emailed to me. And then I cut and paste it a little bit if I don't like the beginning or the end, and I'll upload it. So look for the recording in a couple of hours. And then you can catch up on whatever you missed while I was going too fast. Systems. All levels of life have systems of related parts. A system is an organized group of interacting parts, and they could be big or they can be small. A cell is a system of chemicals and processes. You can crack open a cell, and there's a bunch of different little organelles within the cell that work together as a little system. Like I said, we'll crack that open in chapter 3. A body system includes organs that interact. The digestive system is just one of your multiple body systems. And it has your esophagus, your stomach, small intestine, large intestine, pancreas, liver. All of those are different organs that interact within that digestive system. An ecosystem includes living and non-living things that interact. We'll have a whole unit about ecology next semester, about ecosystems, what they are composed of, what they interact with. And biologists study many different systems. They could study just one level of these systems. They can study how these systems interact together. There are doctors that just concentrate on one specific body system. There are other doctors that concentrate on just one organ of that body system. Structure and function are always related. Structure always determines function. There are proteins. You have thousands of proteins in your body, and they all have different structures, and they all perform a different function because of those structures. The cells in your heart are muscle cells, and they're a certain type of muscle cell. They have a different structure and function than the muscle cells that are found in your stomach. And then there's different species that have different anatomical structures with different functions. Homeostasis. All of your body systems work together to maintain what is called homeostasis. This is the maintenance of constant internal conditions. Your temperature is always the typical one we talk about. Your internal body temperature is always close to 98.6. It might not be exactly 98.6, but it is very close to it. That is the average human body temperature. And your body works very hard to maintain that temperature. If you get too cold, your body has mechanisms to bring your temperature back up. If you get too hot, your body has mechanisms to bring it back down. And that maintenance of that balance is called homeostasis. Water has to be balanced. Salt has to be balanced in your blood. All kinds of things need to be balanced inside your body for you to function properly. And all organisms must maintain homeostasis in one way or another to survive in diverse environments. Evolution. We have one of our last units is about evolution. It's the change in living things over time. The genetic makeup of a population of a species will change over time. Evolution can occur through natural selection of adaptations. And adaptations are beneficial inherited traits that are passed to future generations. And these are simple things like fur color in animals. Whatever fur blends into the background better helps that animal survive and eventually survive to reproductive age, to reproduce and pass on that fur color to the next generation so that their offspring can survive. And that's the whole cycle of life. But again, we'll have a whole unit on this later.
Are we eventually going to have tests on this?
Yes. You have a quiz at the end of the week. Every week you'll have a quiz on whatever the notes are on. And then at the end of the chapter, that's when we'll have the test. You get to use your notes on the test.
Okay, is this the only thing we're doing today?
Yes. We're not quite done yet because we got to talk about the essential question and the summary and how I want you to do that. But yeah, on Wednesdays when we meet, we'll lecture. The rest of the work is pretty much on your own. All right. So summary and essential question. You had two sets of notes, so you're going to have two essential questions and two summaries. So you're going to do this process that I'm going to talk about. You're going to do it twice. So for both sections, I want you to write a 3 to 4 sentence summary at the end of your notes and one essential question that will cover the whole section. Here's the catch. I want you to use help. I told you at the beginning of the introduction when I did last week, my video, I think I told you that I was going to teach you how to properly use AI. So here is where I want you to use ChatGPT. I want you to open a new tab and ask ChatGPT straight out. This is your prompt. I want you to type this in. I want you to write this is what you type into ChatGPT. Write one essential question and a 3 to 4 sentence summary of the following information and make it at a certain reading level. I don't know what each of your reading levels is. You have to pick your own reading level. If you're in 10th grade, pick a 10th grade reading level. See how it comes out. If you're more advanced, pick a college reading level. See how that works out. However you want to do this, pick one. I don't care. Then you have to go back through and review your notes because then you need to type in the key points for ChatGPT to summarize. So once you've typed in the prompt, choose your reading level, type in your key points from the notes that I just went over, then you hit enter and it's going to pop up an essential question and a summary. I want you to read it. Do you like it? Can you understand it? Because the next step, I want you to revise it. If it spit out something too complicated, all you have to do is tell ChatGPT to make it simpler. If you picked a 12th grade reading level, but it's too complicated and you don't like it, pick a 9th grade reading level. Pick a 7th grade reading level. Again, I don't care. I want you to pick a reading level that is going to help you understand whatever it is we're working on. Here's where you can also translate it. If you need it in a different language, I have a lot of Spanish speakers in person, so I let them translate it to Spanish. If you like it, then the essential question goes at the top, the summary goes at the bottom. So then add it to your notes. EQ goes at the top under the title. The summary can be at the end. It can be a first page. The summary can be at the end of either page, the first page or the last page. I want one summary per set of notes. So then repeat the process for section 1.2 and do the EQ and the summary for section 1.2. When you're finished with all of that, all your blanks are filled in, you have essential questions and both summaries. Then you're going to take pictures of your notes, and you're going to upload them to Canvas, and that's how you get points. All right. I am going to stop recording now.